The ultimate dream for a smart home is that it just reacts to you as you go about your day. Crazy enough, that dream could be very close with this Kickstarter from a company called Fluid. It combines those ultra-wideband chips in iPhones with 20,000 existing smart home gadgets to give you two incredible features. The first feature is being able to point your phone at smart gadgets in order to get a control screen to pop up. And the second is that your home will react as you move through it with your phone. It's US only at launch, but it gets a big thumbs up from me with its huge compatibility range, Matter compatibility on launch, and the fact that it just drives everything off a little circle in your home and your phone. And this is just one of three things that are brand new or coming that I think could truly save the smart home. All three of those things and some other pretty incredible tech news is all here today in Brian's lightning round of smart home news. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and while your smart home has been a tough place as of late, with Samsung announcing the end of the Groovy platform, Amazon adding sponsored skills to their Echo shows, and Google and Sonos continuing to debilitate both of their smart speakers, I think I have some pretty uplifting news. The next big news item is from Google, which has been quietly building the next generation of Nest Wi-Fi routers. Amazingly, there are 6 antennas on the upcoming Nest Wi-Fi router. Google's called it an internal proprietary antenna solution, and it will give you access to Bluetooth, Thread, and Wi-Fi at 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and even 6 gigahertz.
Wow!
That means not only will it give you Wi-Fi 6, but it'll give you Wi-Fi 6E, and with everything else on there, it's a Matter controller for sure. So it'll hold on to a ton of Wi-Fi devices like the previous generation, join Thread networks, and speed concerns should be a thing of the past. Thumbs up, Google. Thumbs up. Now release that bad boy. Number 3 on my list is about Thread, the up-and-coming smart home protocol that boasts a lot of benefits over Zigbee and Z-Wave. The latest version, called Thread 1.3.0, does a few impressive things, but the most exciting thing is that very soon, a HomePod Mini, an Amazon Echo, a Google Nest Wi-Fi, and really any other Thread 1.3 board or router will all work together on the same Thread network to connect your smart home. This means that not only will Wi-Fi networks be platform agnostic, and the Matter standard's doing that too, but so is Thread. Sounds like a safe smart home to me. Just in case you weren't afraid of Amazon's military capabilities when you saw the Ring Always Home Cam, then it's time to be afraid of their upcoming tank. What I'm talking about is that Amazon is paying $1.7 billion to buy iRobot in order to sell you a vacuum cleaner, or 6 of them. What this acquisition gets Amazon is some pretty advanced mapping technology, as well as another roaming device with a ton of sensors that they can integrate into everything they already have. I'm not sure I want to give any sort of reaction to this other than trepidation. It's just a lot of sensors and data that one company can have. The acquisitions didn't stop there either, because Fight Electric purchased cash-starved LifeX. A few years ago, this would have been unthinkable, but I think we will see some more of these deals, and actually, I'm pretty excited about it because the team at Fight confirmed that they would keep the two brands separate in terms of app development and software, but work to integrate some of the technology. That should make both lighting products better, and they are pretty much amazing already. One of the things you'll probably notice in your home these days is that 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi doesn't go near as far as 2.4 gigahertz. This is because higher carrier frequency waves can get trapped or absorbed by materials in your home, and it happens more easily than lower frequencies. Now, with Wi-Fi 6E coming with 6 gigahertz as its carrier frequency, this problem is set to get a little bit worse. And it's interesting to see these researchers at a couple of universities who have found a way to apply a reflective coating to walls and have that reduce how much wireless signals are absorbed by the walls. This could help all kinds of technologies, and I'm excited to see this continue to develop. So thumbs up to those researchers there, at 2 universities. Earlier, I mentioned that Amazon was enabling preferred skills on the Echo Show smart displays, which is really a way to serve you ads. But Amazon also has some other news that's more exciting. At their Miss A Developer Live event last month, they released 5 APIs that will really enhance the options developers have with it. But my favorite is the Device and Group Organization API, which will sync device and group names with third-party applications, which really boils down to mean when you create a group in the Hue app, it's going to show up in the Amazon Miss A app too. If you've been getting back a by the way type of statement after asking Amazon's voice assistant to do something, then you can try the following command. Try Miss A stop by the way, and you should be able to turn off that feature. Amazon's also releasing widgets on the Echo Show 10, although you might find the interface a little bit slow. Plus, Visual ID has come to both the Echo Show 8 and 10, and I like seeing that expansion. But there's also a continued expansion of new things that will rotate through the screen, like daily insights, explore local places, and productivity recommendations that you might want to turn off inside the settings. You're also going to see a new photo frame mode on the Echo Shows and Fire TVs, but it sounds like there's a limitation to that of about 3 hours. And finally, if you're in the UK, then you might be pretty excited to find out that Ziggy is now a valid wake word on your Echo speakers. Or if you follow Ken on Twitter, you'd already know that. Which reminds me, I get a lot of great news from people around the world who just send me this stuff. That's a big help as it keeps my finger on the pulse of all this news. But the other big help for me is my members, and I want to thank them here and now because they really are making this video and the other videos I make every month possible on Automate Your Life. So thank you to those of you who are members and to our new members this month. For those of you who don't know, you can join on a computer wherever you see that little join button on the screen. You'll get early access to videos, and there are some pretty exciting benefits there depending on what you need within your smart home. Let's rapid fire some new devices that were just launched or are launching soon. Eve released a new motion sensor with Thread support on it, plus Lockly put as much as they could into their Elite Smart Video Doorbell that costs $500. And crazy enough, Canon launched the PowerShot Pick, a $500 camera that reminds me of the Google Clips because it turns and tilts in order to capture the best moments in your home. Xiaomi showcased a really neat smart home dashboard at a cost of just $60 US. Has fairly low resolution on a 5.45-inch display that's also a touchscreen, a 2-megapixel camera for video calls and facial recognition, has their voice assistant on board, and could give you control of over 3,000 gadgets. Samsung keeps using the term bespoke in every appliance they sell, with a new washer and dryer that are compatible with SmartThings and supposedly have AI features, whatever that means today. And if you didn't see a number of content creators showcase Samsung's new 55-inch rotating monitor, the thing looks incredible and makes me sad I bought an M7 now. Samsung also had their Galaxy Unpacked event where they showcased the Z Flip 4 as well as the Z Fold 4, which are improved versions of their foldable smartphones. Now they're still over $1,000 US, so they're nice to look at from afar. The Galaxy Watch 5 and the 5 Pro have a body temperature sensor, provide ECG, heart rate, and body composition analysis, have 13% larger batteries than the 4, and finally, Galaxy Watch owners can use the Google Assistant on them. My friend Michael told me that Wemo is back in Australia, and they recently launched a new Thread-connected dimmer. But sadly, that dimmer won't be Matter compatible, so pass. Zoo's launched a new version of their Z-Wave power strip, and I gotta say, it's pretty much perfect. It also works really well with SmartThings and has energy monitoring on every plug. And in case you needed a Wi-Fi connected toaster for no good reason, here's one for $350. The Apple event on September 7th gave us the new iPhone 14, iPhone 14 Plus with its bigger screen, as well as the Pro and Pro Max. The iPhone 14 and 14 Plus include the A15 processor plus a 12 megapixel main camera, whereas stepping up to those Pro and Pro Max gets you an A16 and some really improved camera resolution. Plus the new software feature with the pill at the top of the phones is really nice. Apple also introduced the new AirPods Pro, which really they just said is better at everything they did before, and 3 new Apple Watches, including the SE, which is a budget model, and then you step up to the Apple Watch 8 and the new Apple Watch Ultra. Starting at the 8, you get these new temperature sensors that I'm about to tell you came out before in a leak. Now, that dual temperature transmitter sounds really good to me because it will be more accurate. The Ultra is really built for that enthusiast or adventurer, and it includes some additional features for that type of person. But with its price tag at $800, that's one I'm gonna probably take a step back from. Now, if you like leaks of tech, then you're really gonna like these leaks. I think the Google wired video doorbell is at the FCC now with 2.4 and 5 gigahertz connectivity, plus Bluetooth, and the ability to connect by USB. No pictures yet. Now, this is less of a leak and more of just listening to what Google's CEO is saying during earnings reports, but they are testing out a new version of Google Glass. Their vision was shown at Google I/O, but are currently testing in public glasses with microphones, a camera, and a transparent screen to give all kinds of information on the lenses. Dates can change at any time, but the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro look like they will become available on October 13th of this year. No surprises there, but that might tell us the release dates on the other Nest products we're waiting for. Amazon 3rd generation Fire TV Cube is in the works, and I bet it comes out in less than a month. No details or specs on that one other than I would expect it to be 8K ready and would bet it has Thread on it. Speaking of 8K, the next version of Apple TV might be called Apple TV 8K, as it looks like Apple's producing that, as well as producing a new HomePod Mini and a new larger HomePod. Plus, the Apple Watch 8 sounds like you'll have a new sensor on it. That one could measure temperature differential to give a much more accurate temperature measurement, which is important for all kinds of calculations that to this point, you could argue they've been getting wrong. For a while now, you've been able to create a scene in the Hue app and have it use a few colors in order to make it dynamic. When you've created the scene right, you'll see this little play button on the scene, and that turns it from a static scene to a dynamic one. The really neat thing about that is now inside of Amazon's routines, you can choose the dynamic or static scenes when you activate one of those. Plus, you can turn them on or off, which is kind of rare for scenes. Speaking of dynamic scenes, the Hue app looks poised to get the natural light feature that was promised like years ago, and actually has only really come to Apple HomeKit users. You can check your app now, and when you go into the scene selector, you might have a natural light option. If you do, you're part of the test group and you should feel like an absolute superhero, because Signify was removing this from apps just a few weeks ago because it's not ready to go yet. Now, let me know if you have this one, but I love seeing these dynamic features coming to Hue. And when you consider all of that, plus the new widgets creation feature that actually lets you turn on and off your scene when you create one of those widgets, it's kind of powerful in a really easy way. So Philips Hue is getting a big thumbs up from me for all those new features and continuing to develop for us. If you live in the US and you went to McDonald's recently, you might have run into a voice assistant in the drive-thru. Now, unfortunately, if you did run into this, then you had about an 80% chance of actually getting the food you ordered. The reason I'm telling you this is because it wasn't Amazon or Google or Apple's voice assistant, it was IBM's. That's Watson, which went away from consumer type applications, only to come back and be part of a true consumer type application. But with that accuracy, 1 in 5 people needed another type of robot to take over in the drive-thru. Those are known as teenagers who hate their jobs. McDonald's said once this got to about 95% accuracy, they might actually implement it. And I think this shows the future of voice assistants in a lot of ways and how you might end up speaking to more than just a few. The Google Chromecast with Google TV has pretty much been stagnant since its release, although it has received a few minor upgrades here and there. But an internal document was leaked that had a number of updates that will come to this device. It sounds like 2024 will be a pretty big year for the Google Chromecast and Google TV overall, with the Nest speakers finally becoming wireless speakers for that system, and Wear OS integration that will give you interactive video workouts on your TV with some of your stats showing up real time on the screen. Security cameras should be available to stream, which actually happened fairly recently with the Nest doorbell, but in 2024, you should be able to watch the feed without your content stopping, so it'll be a little picture-in-picture deal. Now, the Chromecast itself did get some updates with its first upgrade of the year, taking away third-party screensavers so that ambient mode can always be there, which now contains ads. Google gets a thumbs down on that one. I'm gonna start a new segment here on the Lightning News, and I think one of the greatest things that we as creators can do is to promote really great videos that we know our audience can use. And I was just talking about Philips Hue, and that probably sent all of Paul Hibbert's 200,000 strong subscribers away from the video. Congrats, by the way, Paul. But Paul's video about the new Govee in visual technology was really interesting to me because he showcased their new camera system and an update to existing Govee lights that allowed them all to work in sync. Not like the band in sync, but like the TV backlighting in sync. Now check that video out. It's up here right now. Lewis over at Everything Smart Home is making his own sensor, and it has a ton of features on it. So it's been fun to watch him go through this process, and it's obvious that the guy is smarter than just about everyone on the planet. So it might be fun for you to go see what he's going through, and depending on what he does with the device, maybe it'll work in more systems than just Home Assistant. P.S. Lewis, that's my hope. That video's up here too, so check that out, and of course, a big thumbs up to those two guys for great videos. Now, at the start of today's video, I mentioned that Samsung had ended the Groovy platform, which will impact 100 million users of that system. Now, since I published our video about that ending, I've got some updates. Number one, a lot of you asked me about the virtual switches, and I will tell you that I will come out with a fix for you if Samsung doesn't come back to me with an official line very soon. So you won't have to worry about virtual switches going away, because I already have a solution. Both Sharp Tools and Action Tiles have both come forward and given responses that say they will be fully compatible with the new rules engine, which means that you will be able to continue to use those going forward. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, you need to watch the video that's up on screen now, because it's the announcement that we made here on Automate Your Life that tells you what you need to start doing with your SmartThings system. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.